Located in the Ethiopian highlands, also known as the Roof of Africa, lies the African Union headquarters, which stands as a majestic tower and a ring-shaped conference center, sending the message of an Africa full of hope, longevity, and prosperity across the continent. A gift from China, this landmark structure is estimated to have cost a staggering $200 million and offers an expansive floor area exceeding 1.2 million square feet. This substantial upgrade for the African Union ensures ample space, allowing for the hosting of summits and a variety of activities. The construction phase for this new headquarters commenced in 2009 and was completed in January 2012. Through the 3-year period, a workforce of 1,200 laborers comprising of both Ethiopian and Chinese nationals worked relentlessly to deliver within the set timeframe. The project design team mainly comprised of Chinese corporations and institutions, with the main contractor being the China State Construction Engineering, and the designers were Tongji University, China State Construction Engineering, working in collaboration with China Architecture and Design Research Group. One intriguing and rather ironic aspect of this building is the site's location. The fact that Ethiopia was the chosen nation to host the African Union headquarters is perfectly fitting, considering the fact that this is the nation that the heads of independent African states met back in 1963 to sign the Charter, creating Africa's first post-independence continental institution. Additionally, it is also geographically relatively central within Africa. However, the irony lies in the fact that the site is built on what was once the Alem-Bekan prison, used during the Italian occupation of Ethiopia and subsequently by former Ethiopian leaders such as Haile Selassie and Mengistu Haile Mariam to hold political prisoners. This historical connection would seemingly make it the last place that any political leader would choose as a gathering spot for such prominent matters. This decision was highly criticized by the former prison survivors, who voiced their disappointment by the lack of the African Union's acknowledgement for the torture used on this site. Despite this, the site was still approved and construction continued as planned. From a bird's eye view, the main building forms a U shape to resemble two hands in embrace, symbolizing Africa-China relations, whilst including both African art and modern Pan-African symbology. At the heart of the complex is a distinctive ellipsoid conference hall capable of accommodating 2,500 visitors. This hall is encircled by additional structures symbolizing the unity and collective strength of the African countries and the African Union. On the other hand, standing proudly at nearly 100 meters tall, you have the striking main tower, designed to commemorate the adoption of the SAT Declaration that founded the African Union in September 1999. This architectural marvel includes one underground floor and 20 floors above ground, dominating the skyline as the second tallest building in the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. The project designers prioritize an environmentally friendly and energy-saving architectural concept, ensuring advanced construction techniques and building materials were implemented. The main material used was steel, as it is common in many modern designs. A steel structure was adopted for the main conference hall so that the unique ellipsoid shape of the building would look exquisite and light whilst maintaining stability and durability. To improve energy efficiency, the ellipsoid structure applies a smart and innovative design through what is known as passive cooling. By using curved beams which are laid across its roof in varying patterns, this allows light and wind to pass through the glass windows, reducing the reliance on artificial lighting and air conditioning throughout the main conference hall. This is remarkably impressive, to say the least, and is perfectly suited to the local climate in the region. Other main features of the symbolic structure include a medium-sized conference hall with a capacity of 697 occupants, small conference halls, VIP conference rooms, a multifunctional hall, an emergency medical center, and also a digital library. Well, as great as this state-of-the-art building is to the African continent, it just can't help itself but be surrounded with much controversy and criticism. According to the AFP news agency reports, most of the materials used were imported from China, and even the furnishing were paid for by Beijing. Additionally, the art on the walls inside the building were also produced in China. To add a bit of positive light on top of that, a few years later in 2016, the African Union expanded this site and opened its headquarters of Peace and Security Council within the compound. As an addition to the original compound, this building cost 30 million euros and was also another gift from a foreign nation, this time the German government. However, unlike the initial buildings which were funded by the Chinese, the Peace and Security building was constructed entirely by Ethiopian contractors using local materials. Another building which makes up part of the compound and came as a later addition is the African Union Grand Hotel. Capable of hosting presidents and diplomats during the African Union summits, it was funded by the Ethiopian Saudi billionaire Mohammed Hussein Al-Amoudi. Let us know in the comment section if you want us to dive more into this building and its details. This magnificent complex is truly a sight to mesmerize, standing as a pillar of Africa and enabling strong continental relationships to be fostered, whilst extending links with key international partners like China in Asia and Germany in Europe, who played a huge part to bringing this project to life. Since its inauguration, the African Union Conference Center and Office Complex has been a valuable initiative that all Africans can be proud of. However, having faced much scrutiny and controversy, this has left many Africans with mixed emotions and opinions on how they truly feel about it, which is certainly understandable considering how many opportunities the African contractors and designers lost in place of the Chinese influence. In 2018, perhaps the most worrying and concerning controversies hit the papers, striking panic and mistrust within the Africa-China relations. A French media report in the African edition of Le Monde claimed that the African Union's headquarters IT department had discovered back in 2017 that the site's computer systems were connecting nightly to servers in Shanghai, China, and uploading key documents and data from the African Union files. Further claims in the report stated that the Chinese government was spying on the African Union through recordings from microphones embedded in the walls and furniture. Clearly not a good look for both partnerships, it was allegedly said that the African Union had then covered up the hack in order to protect Chinese interests within the continent. Any allegations of the building being bugged were also denied by Huawei, who were the IT supplier, and the Chinese government itself. Additionally, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn and the head of the African Union at the time, Musa Faki Mahamat, disregarded these claims and stated that they were totally false. That said, the building's computer system was subsequently removed, and the African Union refused a Chinese offer to configure the replacement system. However, just a few years later, in 2022, the African Union signed a further memorandum of understanding with Huawei to expand the technology partnership, which was very contradicting to the stance taken a few years prior. This is a clear vulnerability and certainly a breach of freedom which goes against the independence movement in the 1900s. More so, due to the African Union's context and delivery, the building is not just what Teodoro Obiang Nguema, the president of Equatorial Guinea, described it as, a reflection of the new Africa during its inauguration back in 2012. Instead, it resembles an image of the pre-independence era, casting a shadow of the new face of colonialism in modern Africa. Regardless of its background and interest, the African Union Conference Center and the office complex is still something to admire and be proud of. And with a positive outlook, Perhaps it might bring the promise it was set out to deliver for all Africans and its external partners. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Constructing Africa post-independence at Biora Network, where we discuss key buildings and landmark projects across the continent that continue to influence and shape Africa's future. Let us know what you think about the African Headquarters Complex, from the positives and also the not so good controversies around it. We'd love to hear your feedback, and be sure to drop a comment on what project you want us to explore next. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family to join our community and stay up to date with our informative content at Biora Network.